Hey everybody, Jim Chester coming to you live. I am here at the Fountainhead, and I'm here with Dr. Matt Hartenburg, who just ripped the stage. He talked about heart rate variability, but I'm not the expert on the topic, so I'm going to turn it over to him, and we're just going to talk a little bit about what his talk was about, and then I'm going to interject with him as needed, and we're going to have a really fun time talking about chiropractic and how chiropractic is helping people train better and become better versions of themselves. So, Dr. Matt, welcome to the Chiro Hustle podcast.
Thanme for having me. I appreciate it. You want me to take it? You're going to hold the mic for 10 minutes? All right. You told me just let it rip, so you're going to be holding the mic the whole time. So basically what I spoke about is I noticed about 4 or 5 years ago, I was coaching weightlifting. I owned a CrossFit gym, and I started noticing when I was studying how to train an athlete in weightlifting, the most important topic that all training books cover is recovery. And I started to notice a theme where they talk about recovery occurring in the central and autonomic nervous system. Well, I'm a chiropractor. I went to Palmer. I'm from this school. I was schooled in philosophy here. And I know that part of being a chiropractor is viewing the world through that philosophy lens. So when I'm seeing other professions in exercise physiology viewing this topic through the lens of the nervous system, that caught my attention. So I just started digging and digging and digging. And what's interesting is that in that same amount of time is when all these papers, all the papers I shared tonight where it's talking about assessing an athlete's recovery status by utilizing heart rate variability, they've all been coming out right about the same time. So it's like I came into it, there was nothing, 5 years ago or so, and now every week it seems like a new paper's coming out. And I think it's interesting that what they're looking at is the autonomic nervous system. So heart rate variability is it's an indirect indicator of function of the vagus nerve, essentially, is what I talked about tonight. If you're looking at RMSSD, which is a time domain heart rate variability, what it's doing is it's measuring the effect the vagus nerve has on the heart via the sinoatrial node. All right, so for us as chiropractors and any subluxation-based chiropractor, that ought to be ringing some bells in a big way, because that's right up our alley. So while there's a lot of science emerging in chiropractic, utilizing heart rate variability as an objective outcome measure, my goal tonight was to show that, hey, here's our philosophy over here, and here's what contemporary exercise physiology is looking for, and in the middle there's this common ground. We're speaking the same language, just over here and over here. I believe that as chiropractors, if we can get the right populations involved in a study using subluxation-based specific chiropractic like we're taught here at Palmer, I think we can make a splash, and we're going to get noticed in those strength and conditioning journals, because recovery is the hot topic right now. So in a nutshell, that's what I covered tonight. I know it wasn't 10 minutes, but
what does this mean for just a regular Joe that works out 3 days a week? What does your research do for that?
So that's a great question. So the average person, if they're training towards something, they're likely following a training program. And that training program is designed to, if they're following a periodized training program, it's designed to place a stress on the body. And that stress on the body is important. It's an allostatic load that's being placed, but you have to recover to it. If you're not recovering to the training stress, I use the example of the bodybuilder working biceps. If that bodybuilder does not allow the biceps to recover, they're never going to get bigger. Those same adaptations occur throughout the entire physiology. So when it comes to measuring that, monitoring that via heart rate variability, the average recreational athlete can get a better sense of if they are effectively recovering. And for us as chiropractors, like I alluded to up there, we got a long way to go to really understand it and quantify it. But it's important for us to understand that we can actually measure what is the effect the day after an adjustment. What does that patient's heart rate variability doing the day after an adjustment? Is that helping their recovery as well too? So I know I kind of gave you two answers there, but that's how I think it can help them.
So if somebody wanted to start doing this type of program for themselves, what does that look like?
As far as utilizing heart rate variability, so the app that I use and that a lot of people use, there's a lot of apps out there, but the most accessible one, the easiest one to use, is called HRV for Training. The app developer has done a fantastic job of making it just a smartphone with a camera. You turn the app on, and I shared a lot of studies tonight showing utilization of a smartphone sensor and how they compare to ECG. They're astonishingly accurate compared to an ECG, and you just wake up in the morning utilizing that app, and you check your heart rate variability every day in less than a minute right when you first wake up. It's too easy.
So, big question for you now. What does it look like in 5 years with the research that you're doing and how that's going to interact with the chiropractic profession?
Fantastic question. That's a loaded question. I would like to, like I said when I was talking, I'm not a researcher. I'm in practice with my wife. We have an awesome practice together. And when it comes to actually study design, when it comes to the statistical the stuff that goes on with studies, when it comes to materials and methods, I love reading it. I don't know the first thing about setting it up. My goal right now is I'm trying to find somebody who wants to take what I've done and who gets excited by this stuff. Facebook, I'm looking at you. But you won't find me on Facebook because I'm not on Facebook anymore. I'm looking for the person who's going to come along who understands that study design, who can take this and who has the resources to put the studies together. If we can take a population of athletes, let's say a cycling team or a weightlifting team, a team that's doing the same training.
Or a possible rugby team.
Or a possible rugby team. Where would we find one of those? You know, because I know there's a school in the South. I would sure hope they wouldn't want to do this. I think the school in the Fountainhead should start this research off. You know, we could take this group, have it set up a control group, and actually do a study, and see what kind of outcome measure we have here, and just begin to quantify it. That's what we've got to do right now. Is we've got to begin to quantify it. We're not we don't know how it's going to respond yet. So the research is being done in chiropractic, but I'm the only one, to my knowledge, doing this when it comes to athletes.
So the subluxation matters, but also heart rate variability matters. And the athlete's performance, you're saying, is what we're basing everything on. Is not the actual workout. We're talking about the recovery.
Recovery is where it's at, and that's ultimately where I'd like to see this go. We assess you for subluxation. We adjust you. What does your heart rate variability do? Now let's take a population of athletes following the same training program as you. They're not getting adjusted. Let's see what Group A that's getting adjusted. Let's see how they compare to Group B. All right, that's where, you know, I got to put my money where my mouth is. I've been reading this, studying this. I'm excited about the direction it could go. But like I said, I may have a little confirmation bias, so I don't think I'm the right one to put the study together. But there is there's a huge potential in that. So we evaluate subluxation, we do pattern analysis, we do break analysis, whatever technique-specific stuff we're going to do, and we adjust you. We see your heart rate variability, and then we say who's recovering better, and ultimately whose performance is improving the most. And that's the direction I'd like to see that go.
And I know that right now it's very important for having outcome. We want better outcomes for, you know, the proof is in the pudding type care. Mm-hmm. And I think that when we start getting the person's body healthy, they start responding better to chiropractic care as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what better way? I mean, heart rate variability has given us a measurement of the autonomic nervous system. I think I spent 2 minutes ranting and raving up there about B.J. Palmer would have been all over heart rate variability. If this technology was available in his day, a way of evaluating the autonomic nervous system, and it's up to us now to figure out how that works as an outcome measure. We've got to figure that out. But you know, that guy would have had rooms in this place dedicated to doing just that.
Well, he would have been saying, why aren't we doing interviews about heart rate variability like we're doing right now?
That's right. Exactly. I don't like to put words in his mouth, though. I mean, he's got enough words written down that I don't think we need to put any more in his mouth.
Well, Dr. Matt, if anybody wants to get more information on heart rate variability, where would you send them?
Great question. Right now, if you're looking in terms of an athlete, you want to look for, there's a website called hrvtraining.com, and it's actually a blog being run by some of the researchers that I shared up there. He posts summaries of all of his studies up there. That's a great starting point. There's a lot of ways to contact me. If you go to my website, bewellchiropracticpc.com, my email is on there. You can get in touch with me right away. I'll respond to emails as well too. And but those two resources are a great place to start. And if you're really looking to take it deep, there's online tutorials about heart rate variability. The information is everywhere right now. So.
Well, I think I'm a perfect model for the test subject of testing myself with heart rate variability and seeing how I recover and how fit that I can become because of doing these simple measurements in the morning and figuring out how to, which is famous in the world right now, is called biohacking. Yeah. I'm going to biohack myself and get myself to peak performance. And it's not about the workout, it's about the recovery. So thank you, Dr. Matt, for spending some time with me, talking to me on the Chiro Hustle live stream out here at the Fountainhead. We're at Rugby Alumni Symposium 2018 here in Davenport, Iowa. I just like to close out and say, you're just one story away. Keep hustling.